I was in North Carolina. We had a large Power and Love. There was probably 1,100 people there. I'm sharing my heart and preaching the gospel. And so I'm sharing this, and there's a ruckus, and I could tell that something's going on, and security guys are kind of walking around. I was in the front worshiping. There was a guy that came in off the street. First, there was a girl that ran into the room, and she had a big black and blue swollen face. And this guy had just punched her in the face out on the street. She ran in and hid. Well, she was a prostitute. And so this was her pimp. He came in and he was going to kill her. And they said he had a gun and he's in the place. And I don't know any of this stuff. So I'm innocent of all this stuff. And I just shared about the Father and how he is not a thief. He doesn't come to steal, kill, and destroy. He's come to give us life and life abundantly. And any view that I have about God, if I believe that God stole, if there's death, loss, or destruction attached to it, I have to believe different because that's not God. And so I'm sharing things like this at that meeting, and this guy's in the room, and so's this prostitute. I have no idea they're even there. No one tells me because I'm up at the pulpit. They're not going to go, hey, there's a guy in here trying to shoot a girl. They're not going to do that when I'm up there. And so I'm just sharing my heart on this thief that comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And the reality of sickness, we have to look at it the way that they looked at it 2,000 years ago. Because 2,000 years ago, all sickness and all disease came from the demonic realm. How do I know that? Well, if Jesus healed disease and God gave people disease, Jesus would have been going against his Father directly. Simple. If disease came from God and God put it on people and Jesus healed it, he would be going against God's plan. And a house divided can't stand. So I'm sharing this and I'm preaching at this place in North Carolina. And I get to the end, and I have no idea what's happening. And people are like walking around the room, like looking everywhere. And I start to share, look, if you blame God and you believe that God's at fault for all these different things, I want you to come forward. And here's what happened. All these little kids, I mean, from ages 6 to probably age 12, came forward, probably 20 of them. And I'm sitting here going, what is happening right now? Like, what if you got your mind renewed that God's a good God at 6? God was teaching me something. He's saying if we could only get back to knowing that God's good, we could live a completely different life for the rest of our lives. And some people are so set in their mindset that God's bad, that God's the one that gave me this. You know, I'm reaping what I sowed. I made my bed. I'm laying in it. I was a drug addict. Now I have HIV because of drugs, you know, or you're out there and you get bitten. You sleep around one time, you get bit, and all of a sudden you have a venereal disease, or 100 times and you spread it to all kinds of different people. It only takes one time to get bit. And all of a sudden we think God did this for a reason, to teach me a lesson. God is not a child beater. God is a loving Father, and he wants complete restoration. He wants complete wholeness for your whole body. He wants your life to be free. So I give this altar call. All these kids come up, and then all of a sudden up comes the pimp. No, the guy that came in there to put a bullet in a girl, he comes forward like this with a gun in his pants. And I don't know that he's the guy. They're like, there he is, there he is, there. And they're all coming up. I'm like, stop. I looked at him, I gave him a hug, and I said, I love you. He goes, no one's loved me. No one's loved me. Is he right for punching that girl? No. Has his brain been trained by life? Yes. Is he all jacked up because he's in survival mode? Makes a lot of money doing what he's doing. He ain't gonna make that kind of money at McDonald's. So all these people that are out there selling drugs and doing what they're doing, there's money involved. They're not our enemy, they're not our war. Jesus Christ is king, and he paid price for everybody. Paid a price for people that even think about killing somebody, because I was that guy. And he stopped me before I could. And then he killed me. No, he really did. You know what he did? He tacked me on a tree with Jesus. He said, now you're gonna live a crucified life in Christ. And the world's gonna freak out when they see this. Religion's gonna hate you, Todd, just like it hated my son. But do not fear, I'm for you and not against you. That's pretty amazing. It is. We blame God for things that God never did. And I promise you, he is not a thief that comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He wants you to have life, and he wants you to have it excessively abundant.